for right now. So Erica is always looks out for us getting clearance to go live. But there we go. And welcome to the ripple effect here on our last show of 2022. I'm saying, who knows, maybe we'll do a special edition in there somewhere. But Erica, welcome back from the East Coast.
Hi.
If you don't mind just introducing yourself, and I did want to get right to your tips for 2023 before we get to our guest here too.
My tips. Oh my goodness. So hi everybody again and again and again. We are the Ripple Effect. We love this show. It's all about little and big changes that create results in your life, the ripple effect. So yeah, I'm a therapist here in Oakland, California. I'm a fruits and vegetables advocate, and it's great to have you back, Sandeep, for your second visit with us. And so I'm just back right from visiting with family for Thanksgiving time. And yeah, New York was a bustle. It was really fun to get around to Manhattan, Brooklyn, and bop around on foot most of it. We walked over the Brooklyn Bridge, which is an amazing feat. That thing from, what is it, 18 something it was built. I forget, it was built in a window of time, like 1860 to something like that. And it's just amazing to walk that thing. It's an architectural wonder.
Yeah, so, I know a lot of photographers take pictures of that bridge. I love to go out there and take some pictures. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. And we were there at the golden hour, and we could see the Statue of Liberty just as we were walking across a little bit. You can see the beginning of her. And then, we're at the golden hour, so the lights were coming down, and it was just gorgeous. So I feel really happy that I could go see that and again and enjoy it, and all the memories of being there almost 20 years ago, and my life there when I lived there for 8 years in Manhattan. So
great. Well, let's get right to Sandeep. I think at the end we can close with your guys' tips for how to get started, because I know Sandeep is basically an expert on this concept as well, about healthy eating, and that's what he does. We've had Sandeep on before, at least once.
Yes.
If you don't mind just introducing yourself and telling us what you do, and we can give a little testimonial as we go through. I was just looking at all the great healthy foods on your website and making me hungry. It's amazing, all the great stuff that you provide out there.
It's that time of the year. Everybody gets cold, you get hungry, put on a sweatshirt. But hey, thank you so much for having me, David and Erica. It's really nice to be back on here. Just to give our viewers a background about what we do, we are a healthy meal delivery service company based out of Oakland, California. We provide healthy, freshly cooked meals that are delivered to our customers around the San Francisco Bay Area, and we also ship overnight to our customers anywhere in California. Our goal essentially is to make healthy eating as easy and convenient as possible. So basically what it is healthy, fully cooked, prepared meals that are individually packaged, that are delivered to our clients, wherever they live or at the place of work. So unlike catering companies, we're very different. We're just individually packaged meals that are delivered cold. Would you like me to get into the story about Locale Foods as well, or?
Yeah, I think that's what sets you apart. And I'll just make a comment on the quality of the foods. I just see the customization options and what you offer really sets you apart too. But if you don't mind talking a little bit about how you see your shop is different from maybe some of the other providers out there as well.
Yeah. So, to really get into the story of how I ended up starting Locale Foods, I kind of have to go into a prologue about, my own personal struggles with, weight management and being healthy and all of that. So basically how it started was when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I got really sick from eating contaminated pork. Unfortunately, it had like some sort of parasite or parasitic cyst that caused a disease, and I first started getting really nauseous, sick, and having diarrhea and all kinds of problems. And then it quickly escalated into seizures and issues like that. And so I was like really sick at a really young age, and my parents were terrified about how sick I got, and they had no idea what was going on. And so they rushed me to the doctors, to the hospital, try to figure out what was happening. They, couldn't figure it out. At the time I was born and raised in Nepal, and we were in Nepal. So the hospital care at that time wasn't very good. And so a family friend of ours, as a doctor, suggested my dad that he should take me for treatment to some other country where the medical care was better and, somewhere we could afford. And so my dad rushed me to Thailand at the time. I was very fortunate that he was able to do that. And so it turns out that I, contracted a tapeworm cyst, which basically traveled to my brain. And had contracted a disease called neurocysticercosis. It's quite a mouthful. So which caused a lot of seizures and problems, that I had to deal with. And fortunately, the doctors there were very competent. They knew what they were doing. They put me on a lot of meds, unfortunately. Great thing is I got cured of the disease over a period of time. The bad part is that all that medicine that, were anti-seizure, there's a lot of different, there's a concoction of medication I took from at a very young age. So that caused me to put on a lot of weight, over a period of time. So by the time I was 10, 12 years old, I was a very obese kid, went from being very sick to very obese, and, struggled with that for a long time. And when you're growing up through that age and being obese, you're like the odd one out and the butt of everybody's joke. Struggled with that for a long time. And tried basically all kinds of diets under the sun, right? So by the time I was 19, 20 years old, I had literally tried, all kinds of different diets that might or might not have been healthy, right? So there's a lot of people that are in the health and fitness world. There are a lot of, there's some good information, but there's also a lot of bad information out there, right? So there's people promoting all kinds of diets, all kinds of supplements, all kinds of fad diets. And I fell for them all, right? And it was pretty horrible, but, it taught me a lot about, finding my way through all of that. And fast forward to 2006, I moved to the US to go to school. Kind of found my way through and become a little healthier. And then found a lot of friends and people that are actually in the health and fitness industry that helped me understand eating healthy, working out, going to the gym, meal prepping, and those sorts of things. And so I finally, became a lot healthier, was able to manage my health at that time, and then graduated school, joined the corporate American world, and then realized that staying healthy and staying on top of my goals and my diet was extremely difficult with all the other responsibilities that you have to keep up with, right? And so there was one day we were eating brunch with a group of my friends, and I was complaining to them about how hard it is to stay on top of your diet, your wellness, your health, and just, keep up with all the other things that go on in your life, right? And so there was a moment when one of my friends said, imagine how many other people have that problem, right? It's not just you that you're struggling with, right? Almost every adult struggles with trying to stay healthy, eating right, and then also fulfill their, all their responsibilities. So it was like a moment of epiphany where all of us are like, oh, imagine how many, people are struggling with that. If there is a company or if there is a service that would provide healthy meals to folks, that would be fantastic, right? And it was like a light bulb moment where we all realized that that's probably something that will really work if it was to be a business, right? And immediately we were like, we should try it out, right? And so me and a couple of my friends made a pact that we should try and at least do some research to start a company that would solve that problem. And this was, I think, circa 2013, 2014. And there really weren't a lot of healthy options. There still aren't that many healthy on-demand options for people to eat, but back then it was like everything was just about like, soul food. And eating out was really not ideal if you wanted to stick to a healthy diet. And so we did some research and found out that there was a real demand for something like that. We talked to folks in I was living in Burlingame back then, so we talked to some folks in San Mateo, found a supplement company, San Mateo Sport Nutrition, we're good friends with to this day, and work with now. They were like, oh yeah, there are, some people that are trying to do like, sell healthy meals to folks, and they have great traction. They have a lot of people following, like, ordering meals from them. And so all we did was created like a poster of the meals we would provide, and and kind of gave it to them to see like what kind of response we get. But the next thing we knew, we were starting to get orders out of nowhere. And so that was like a kind of a interesting research that we kind of did, and we kind of hit gold right then and there. And so we immediately, set aside time, some money, and invested, started a company, invested everything we made, moved to a commercial kitchen, did all of that, and then started the company. And so that was in 2014, and 9 years later, here we are today, right? Since then we've grown quite substantially, and we've been profitable and running the company since day one.
Right. And I'll just add. Oh, Erica, go ahead.
Oh no, you can add.
I'll just say that I love the whole vibe of the website, and just I've been at some events that you've catered, and it's healthy food, but it's very good food, and it's so highly customizable that you have, for example, Mongolian beef, a burrito bowl, but then you can pick, what you want with it, all the sides, these healthy sides of vegetables, whole almonds, cashews, Spanish rice, roasted garlic, zucchini, spinach, Brussels sprouts. So there's really so much range in what you can get that is, it's almost like, you can just order this food instead of a restaurant, and then you have food that's like probably even better, but it's also healthy too. So it's a very, just such a great concept. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, David. To your point about the customization, we really focused on customization because I really believe that it's a very valuable tool that you could provide, anybody to be able to decide how much they want to eat, rather than just giving them a cookie cutter plate and just saying, hey, this is how much you need to eat, or this is what you get in this meal, right? So that is our approach. And I think that's sort of been lost in the modern diet ethos. That's such a basic thing about portion control, and what goes into your plate. that people kind of tend to overlook it, and that's something that I think is very important that we have as part of our service, and that's really what also sets us apart.
So
Erica probably has thoughts on that
I have a
too.
lot of questions, and I just
Sure.
want to, like, in comparison with the last time we talked with you, what's happening in your business? Like, what do you notice? Like, I noticed the rising prices of everything, especially restaurants, food, produce. Like, what are you seeing? And remind us again, where are you serving? So if somebody's tuning in, they can, and just say your website again, so everybody's really clear
Sure.
about
So
Yeah.
our website is localfoodz.co, local spelled like local, LOCALFOODZ.co. That's our website. You're also able to download our app if you just type local foods on your iPhone or your Android app. You can download our app.
Great.
Currently our service area is pretty much all of California. We do local deliveries within the 40-mile radius of the Bay Area, and we will ship overnight anywhere in California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'll have to check out the app. I
And-
didn't even know you had an app. Yeah.
And to answer your question about the rising food prices, we've definitely felt the pinch. We went from one extreme to the other in the matter of, I think, 2 or 3 years. So in 2019, end of 2019, 2020, when COVID happened, everything shut down. And we thought we were going to have to shut down as well, but fortunately we didn't. So, but we got very lucky in terms of we never depended on foot traffic like a restaurant would in order to get and serve customers. So we did really well throughout the pandemic.
Great.
However, right post-pandemic, when all the monetary policy and all effect of all the monetary policy and all of that were coming to fruition, we really felt a huge pinch or a huge rise in cost of goods, right? So people are talking about 8 to 10% rise in grocery prices. We saw, I think that is like probably an aggregate of all the products that are out there in the world. But like the kind of products we're using like some pretty premium, like meats and proteins, vegetables, things like that. And some are organic. So we saw close to probably a 30 to 40% price increase on our food, and so
That's no joke.
having to pivot to that in a very short period of time, and then kind of turn around and telling people that this is no longer going to be the price to our customers was really, it was a tough pill to swallow. Because and we tried to kind of ease people into it and go incrementally, but at the end of the day we're a for-profit company, right? So we had to stick to the prices.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? It's like we're all seeing that rise in prices. So it's great that you could bring people with you. And you kept your client base, right?
Yeah. So I think we kept our client base. I think a large portion of our client base is very loyal, and they like to eat healthy. They like to live a certain kind of lifestyle, and we sort of kind of fit in that puzzle. And so that's why a service like us, we're able to hold on to that customer retention. But there are also a lot of people that kind of got priced out, and preferred to like eat at home or do other things. But being an entrepreneur, I tried to come up with better solutions or give people price breaks in other areas that we could.
Good. like customer loyalty and
Yeah, so we have a customer loyalty program. We upped our referral, bonuses like referral program bonus.
Great.
We're offering free delivery over a certain dollar threshold. Things like that that could kind of give customers a break and kind of help us along the way as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm excited to try your food and to try your dishes and, to get the flavor. Literally, I'm hungry. I'm hungry over here. So,
I will make it a point to have some food sent your way.
oh,
How does it
yeah.
work, Sandeep? I know you have, for example, TNT Fitness. They have a drop-off location for low-cal foods. Can you just have food sent to some locations around Oakland? And they'll pick it up,
Shout out
or-
to TNT Fitness. They've Jesse and the team there have been so great and such a wonderful partner to us over the past year or so. Ever since the pandemic happened and all of that. There's a couple of ways you can get your meals. You can place your orders online and then have them either delivered to your home, or if you don't think you're going to be available to receive the meals, or the meals are not going to be safe where you are, you can have it picked up at one of our pickup locations around the Bay Area. So we currently have about only four pickup locations. A couple in the East Bay, a couple in the Peninsula that you can choose, and TNT Fitness is one of them.
Yeah, there are a few uses that come to mind here for, I think, our viewership. One is, business executives or like conventions. Say you want to have like a working meeting, and if you ordered catered stuff, it's kind of a pain. This seems so much easier than having a cater, but it's also healthier to just
Yeah.
go on and customize the lunches and then just have it shipped right away.
Yeah.
Also families, I don't know if you get, my kids are kind of fussy, although if I just like all kids, but if I found stuff that they could like, that I could just order day after day, I could just put in that order and have it shipped. But
Yeah.
if you have older kids or full families, have certain days, maybe Thursdays, you just have this delivered. So then you
Yeah.
don't have to cook when you come home, and it's
Mhm.
just such unique stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, who wants to get back home after a long day of work, commute, and all of that, and be tired and then start cooking at home, right? And then typically most people would go for something easy at that point, right? So pizzas, burgers, something fattening, probably not that healthy and not good for you. So that's the whole idea, right? You want to have your meals delivered ahead of time and are waiting for you when you're ready to enjoy them. And so you make the right choices when it matters and it's convenient, right? So that's what we had in mind when we kind of structured our services. We are not an on-demand service like a restaurant where you can just call us and place an order and it's delivered to you an hour later. We work a little differently. We are more of a meal delivery service in terms of you place an order, choose a date you want your meals delivered, and you want to order multiple days or multiple meals that are delivered to you on a date of your choosing. And so there's quite a few benefits of ordering from someone like us. It's, one, you save on a lot. Most of our meals are non-taxable, so you save on the sales tax as compared to like ordering from a restaurant. Two, the delivery price is basically split across multiple meals rather than just one meal, right? So instead of just paying for that one meal, you're paying for 3 days, 4 days worth of meals that are delivered to you at one time. And then three, obviously there's the healthy aspect of it, right? So you're picking and choosing and customizing these healthier options compared to something fast and easy and greasy, and that might not help you achieve your fitness and wellness goals.
Yeah, I do think people's home events, a lot of people have parties and things over here in the East Bay that be a great option for that versus catering. And I think it's actually healthier and just even more inexpensive than a lot of other catering options, better, so.
Yeah, we're primarily focused on providing those individual meals for people that place orders via our website or our app. We have done some events, and I am looking to expand on that as well. We do group packages, things like that.
Catering. Yeah.
Catering.
I want to have an
we're
event just so
we're
we can have
slowly
the food,
dabbling
yeah.
into that, but not getting into it too much.
Yeah.
But obviously, if someone's interested to order from us, please feel free to get in contact with us, and we'd be happy to help out and see what value we can bring. And
Wonderful.
we're also adding a new kind of product on our website, which is basically family meals. So instead of just individually packaged meals, it's going to be a family-sized portion of the same meal, right? So if you want like a pasta dinner, then we're going to be offering a family-style pasta dinner option that you can basically share with 3 to 4 people.
Great. Well, I will put the link to your website, and I think people should just check out the site right away, and then they'll start seeing a lot of the possibilities for this. And I look forward to seeing what you do with those family meals too. That's exciting. And Erika,
Absolutely.
did you have any...
you can be my tester too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to hear how things have progressed for you, and that you're still doing it and doing it well. And my ears always perk up on this topic of healthy and bringing more vital fresh produce and prepared meals is it's almost a dying art. And for me, we each have our own like go-to for what we do, but this is like just so exciting that you have this available to support people's lives. And this is making a difference. So I'm excited for you guys to keep going, and I can't wait to taste your food and appreciate the goodness.
Thank you. That is our goal, try to make healthy living as convenient as possible.
Yeah, in terms of the healthy tips, just substitute the pizza for one of your meals, or other things. Every time you eat out, or half the time, or whatever it is, people look at these individual meals, such a good alternative to the more fattening kind of meals that aren't even as good, that you're not even happy with.
I mean, of all the years that I've run health food company and going through health struggles myself, I think the most valuable but most probably overlooked concept is just portion control, and basically gaining the knowledge of basically what you're putting in your mouth, right? So if it's a salad, you could probably eat a lot of it and just be fine and not have any health consequences, right? But if you're eating pizza every day, that's a problem. Right.
Exactly. And, being in New York, my friend I was traveling with, every day they were saying, pizza and tiramisu today. Pizza and tiramisu. Let's have pizza and tiramisu. And
if you're on a vacation, right?
Pizza, and then my family culturally is all about bagels, bread products. And so, so I'm about the salad. Give me a salad. Where's the salad? So it's, for me, I'm not happy unless, especially if I'm having a slice of pizza, I need a salad to process. So anyway, you're speaking my language. I can't wait to talk to you more, Sandeep. And just as we say goodbye to you, what's your favorite dish that you prepare that you like to eat yourself?
Favorite dish that I prepare, I haven't been cooking for a while. I do really good breakfast. So I make a killer French toast, a healthy spin to it, at least. I use like stevia and some, I'll make like a blueberry compote and put it on top of my French toast. So I love that option. For the cold, we just recently did a butternut squash soup. And we're sourcing the butternut squash from a local urban farm here in Alameda County.
Nice.
from a farm that's run by the Dig Deep Farms, which is a nonprofit organization, and they're all about circular economy and
Nice.
actually feeding into the economy, paying people livable wages in the Bay Area. So I'm happy to support them as well, and provide great food to people and make help people live healthier lives.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I haven't heard of Dig Deep Farm, so I'll definitely check that out. Anything else, Mr. David?
No, that'll do it. Next time I'm at a place where his food is being served, I'll have my camera and get some video and do a little testimonial too. So,
Oh, absolutely. I'd love for both of you to come visit our production facility.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's set a date.
Let's set a
Okay,
date.
sounds
Yeah.
good.
Let's set a date. And,
Okay, have a great rest of your day, you guys.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the great interview, Sandeep, and have a good holidays. I'll be seeing you shortly at a Rotary event. I forgot to mention that Sandeep's a member of our Rotary Club in Oakland, and he also has,
Good.
catered a number. I shouldn't use that word catered, but provided food for a number of our parties, which people love. So, thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, David. Thank you, Erica. Really appreciate it. We'll get in touch.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
good. Be well.